so far away, like in thought.
I was trying to,
Where
see
were
how
you?
to stop the pods.
It looked like you're a bit far away.
Yeah, no. 'Cause traffic, man. So people have decided that they're over the lockdown.
What lockdown are you talking about?
Was there traffic when you were coming?
Yeah, but it hasn't been any different.
No, I'm seeing a difference.
Are you?
Or maybe I haven't really sort of like ventured out at this time.
No, I knew that it would be busy at this time.
Yeah. Like I just feel like everybody's just like, you know what?
But people haven't been minding for ages.
Like today when I was going to the flat, so I was getting into the lift, right? And then there was already someone in there who had come from the basement.
Yeah.
So I did that thing where I was like,
Do you go in?
Do I go in or do I not? Right. Then he was like, come in, right? And then I got in, then I was like, oh, okay, let me put my mask on because I wasn't wearing my mask. No, because, sometimes it's for your protection, but it's also to make some other people feel comfortable, right? And then he was like, don't worry, I've had the vaccine.
Oh, bless.
And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I've had my first shot. Then I just saw that, like, I can't describe it, but I could tell he's so over it. And I'm like, you know what? I am too. I am completely over.
I'm so tired of it. So tired of wearing a mask. But, I was listening to something and they're like, oh, you will most likely be wearing the mask up until like next year or something. It's going to take a while to kind of get used to it. But I too am fed up. I'm fed up of it.
I think I don't mind the whole like wearing a mask and,
Really? I think that's the worst thing.
In public spaces. Like I think, like I'm fine with that. The whole an element of social distancing, but what I am now.
Sorry, what's social distancing?
No, I'm just saying, like I don't know, where there's a need.
I don't even know what that is anymore. Like I think people have completely, like I've seen a change in behaviors in people in the last few months.
Do you think it's because some people have got the vaccine?
Probably.
I think so
Probably.
Too.
People just, the whole wearing a mask, I find quite claustrophobic, to be honest. Especially after you have been walking and then you're out of breath. I hate it so much. And then you have to go into the tube and then I hate that. But, I understand where we're coming from, but it doesn't stop me hating it. And the social distancing, like the other day I was in the tube coming home and I was like, people, it's just back business to business as usual.
Really?
Tubes are busy, places are just back to normal.
Yeah, I think the big thing for us here in the UK is that a lot of non-essential shops are still closed. So your hairdressers, gyms, and all that stuff. But once that opens, once restaurants open, like it'll be interesting to kind of see. And I know we talked about this before when we were talking about travel. Remember, like the episode of, like, I will be honest with you. I am now at the point where I'm so tired. Because of all the different messaging that we're getting, right? We're getting the whole, don't travel unless you have a good cause and then you'll be fined, right? Yeah. And then it's this whole, like, they were like, summer will be fine. And then we're kind of hearing like different messages. And honestly, I'm like, I can understand if we were in the same position as we were last year, right? Where you're literally just managing the pandemic via, treating those that are seriously ill. But what is the purpose of the vaccine, right? We've been told, okay, jab your way to freedom, right? But then you can't say, again, I'm not a scientist or whatever. I know that there is that public health officials and scientists have got their reasoning and all that stuff. But then in my lay way of thinking, I'm like, people are desperately getting the vaccine because they're like, I want to see my grandkids, I want to see family that is abroad. It's not play, if they didn't, they would be like, no, I'll go without the vaccine. But then you can't then say, okay, even if you're vaccinated, you're not going to enjoy certain freedoms. You can't travel, or you can't do this. And it honestly, I know, like, I am now getting to the point where I low key understand the people that are like, this is ridiculous. And for me, the vaccine is now the thing that's making me be like, yo, like, where, like, at what cost are we doing this? Again, I'm not saying things should like reopen now. Obviously, like, follow the science, but then what are we giving up?
Yeah.
For how long?
It's frustrating. And over the weekend, I was like, this weekend, or was it last weekend? This weekend, I was with like one of my old workmates, and she unfortunately lost her dad due to COVID, and she had to travel abroad for, they're from Europe, and so she traveled over, and she was like, these guys literally, she's like, I made them follow the rules, right? I made them, like, her parents are elderly. She's like, I made them stay indoors. They didn't have, like, over Christmas, they didn't have family over, so they followed all the rules and regulations. And of course, it's different from UK and everything, but they had the essentials again were open. The essential shops were open, and
where was this? SA?
No, Spain. So they had just been carrying on their lives, right? But not seeing family, not seeing friends, just going to the shops just to pick up their groceries, and that was it. Wearing a mask, they had very regimented in terms of how they're bringing groceries in and all the stuff. And of course, unfortunately, her dad caught COVID and passed away. And she was like, this is the one thing that I just look back and I'm like, why then did I make them obey all these rules if then it was going to all come down to him catching it? Because the whole family had it. So somebody obviously caught it when they were out and about getting their shoppings or whatever.
Yeah.
And the whole household had it. So it was quite a trying time. And, she's like, looking back, I'm like, Christmas was such a difficult time because it was the first time that they were on their own, they had all these things via Zoom. But she was like, at what cost? At what cost? And she's like, I don't know if I should have said, if we'd known it was going to be his last Christmas, then opening Christmas up and having family coming over, like, how do you balance the guilt? It's like, if you know that somebody in the family has given it to him, but he has seen his kids, he has seen his grandkids, but he didn't have all that. All he saw was people via FaceTime, via Zoom, and the shopkeepers who have probably now passed it on to him. So I guess, there's going to be a lot of these questions in regards to balance. Like, like Tessie, we are not being allowed to meet people indoors. I think we can now meet people outdoors. I'm not sure, actually.
I think you can meet one other person.
So I met one other person. So I'm within the rules. I honestly don't know what I am so confused.
You do realize that you don't know the rules at all. Like, at all. Like, I am the one who's been like, these are the rules. This is what we can do.
I am just going with the flow. I am just, if somebody said like, oh, no, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. That's fair, But I everything else, I'm very good with hand hygiene. I don't entertain in my home or anything like that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Did you hear that silence? Okay. No.
Don't get me fined.
And condolences to your friend. And I think it's one of the, I always have this sort of like conversation / turns into a slight argument with my aunt, because she's very much like, yo, you are alive. Like, you have to be grateful for life because the consequences of COVID are so dire. And because maybe
Absolutely.
she has seen it like with her eyes. So she's very much like, why are people traveling? Like, what is 2 years of your life
Hey.
when you're inconvenienced? But for you to have the rest of your life than for you to, and I'm
It's
like,
difficult.
first of all, I was with her like all throughout last year. I was like, I get you, woman, I get you. But then now, so because even we had this conversation, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but for me, the key thing is the vaccine. So like, even like with your friend, I understand, but then I feel like the unfortunately it sounds like her parents had not yet got the vaccine and the family hadn't yet got the vaccine. But I just think that's a game changer. And again, we don't know the efficacy and how long
it lasts.
That is, right? So for me, you can't tell me that I have to stay home all summer because we don't know what winter's like. Because winter, it's likely that they're gonna say, try and work from home and reduce travel if you have to, because we need to see how the world copes with this round of winter, right? Because we don't know what that's going to look like. So I think I know that my frustrations are very like personal and they seem selfish, but I'm like, I don't know, I just feel like, oh my God, I am just so tired. I was looking the other day, I was like, yo, I started growing a mustache and everything. No, because like, do you know these places have been closed since December?
I know. It's a long time.
Since December, and my hairdressers, everything. Like, I'm just surprised that I don't have like full beard.
Yeah, no, but like, I guess everybody's experiences are going to be different and everybody's desires are going to be different as well. Like what your aunt is saying that, what's 2 years of your life if you have the rest of your life? But the honest truth is we do not know how much, quote unquote, the rest of our lives is. Like nobody knows what lies ahead. It might be, God willing, we'll live a long life. But for some, and for some, definitely, this is 2 years, probably of 3 years that they have, and 2 years of it has been in situations where they can't do the things that are meaningful to them, and they probably now have just 1 year left. But we don't know that. You might have 2 months, you might have 3, you might have 20 years ahead of you, but we do not know. And I think that's the issue, is that even though like there's the quality of life, and this is something that's the Western world pushes, it's always about the quality of your life is what's important, the quantity, what brings meaning to it, not necessarily the quantity, not necessarily how long you will live. It's about how much worth and how much meaning is put into the few years that you have, or the years that you have.
And just in case the ministry angels and God is listening, I just want to say, as for me, I will have long life.
Amen.
I speak life over me.
Amen.
I rebuke short life. I rebuke premature death in Jesus' name. Amen. I plead the blood of Jesus over my life, over my lineage, over my family. I just had to interject.
You will live long.
Yes, amen. Abundant life.
I think it's so funny, and I think because working in healthcare, like mortality is something that I do not necessarily, I do not fear it, but it's something that I am very much, it's a part of who we are. Life and death is something that is very much within our sphere. Like, I have worked with people, I have seen people who have died who are younger than me, older than me, my age. And it definitely puts that into perspective. So I know that. And I wish out of all this, what I remembered was to live each day to the fullest, because that is something that you probably, that I, being faced with all these things is not something that I probably, I live to. There's some days, and there's some days where I'll be like, oh, I'll look back and like, oh gosh, I had such a great week, or but sometimes you do get overwhelmed with the things that are happening around you, and you do kind of just you do kind of just, get succumb to the pressures of the world.
Yeah.
But, so I am not like in my heart of hearts, I think I'm going to live to see my great grandchildren. I definitely, there's that parallel thinking, but at the same time, I'm just aware that life is precious and life can also be short for some people, and I do not know, what's going to happen to me. But, as long as, yes,
the power of life and death is in your tongue.
I speak long
Do
life.
not be double-minded. No, but even if 50 years is short. Like, look, listen.
50 years is
I don't
short,
know how I got to this age that I'm at. Like, I'm like, yo, it was, I remember 2002, like yesterday. And I'm like, yo. I remember.
How old were you in 2002?
It doesn't matter.
I can calculate this and find it myself.
I was 3 years younger than you. We
Oh!
already know this.
Say.
No, we already know this.
How did it become 3 years, Natasha?
It's
Like
always
on this
been 3
podcast,
years.
you all Janet.
What do you mean?
Why don't you just tell the truth?
How much younger am I than you?
Like literally a year and a half.
No, Ulamaga, what's wrong with you? Why do you lie like this? Oh, I forgot. This is too late anyway. But then, if you're listening to us for the very first time,
Natasha's a liar.
You're probably mid-pod. My name is Natasha. Welcome
And
to
she's
Kaliska's
38.
podcast. No, I'm not 38, but you know what? I'll be if I were, the age you are. I would be blessed. No, do not. We should embrace our ages because what is the alternative?
So embrace your age.
Yeah, I do. I'm 3 years younger than you.
Since when?
Golly. Okay. Keep your driving license, Jaco.
I don't have it
on my
with me.
driving license. Because
3 years.
we have settled
Like
this before.
I feel like oh my God, is that what you're doing? How long have we had the podcast?
Since 2 years now.
So are you just increasing it? Just as,
No!
as the years goes by. Now we are increasing. My age difference.
I've been consistent. I mean, at first I was trying to be nice to you because we were trying to pretend we're the same age.
We are the same.
No, but we're not. So I'm Natasha.
And I'm Xolie.
I sometimes go by Nat.
I sometimes go by Michelle.
Yeah. But no, we should. I'll be honest. Like, I never used to care about age and stuff, but I do feel like now I am a bit like one of those people that's like, oh my God.
Really?
Not too much, but I think it's because in my mind, right? I remember someone was saying to me, oh, talking about school reunion, whatever, right? Like potentially like
You?
attending school reunion. And I was like, honestly, like I feel like I would be so embarrassed to go to my school reunion. Like, because I feel like I haven't achieved like certain things.
According to who?
No, but
who are you comparing to?
No, but I just feel like
That's ridiculous. Like,
I see people
like you
that I
need
went
to take
school
that
with,
back.
and they're doing great things. They've
So
got
are you,
families, they've
Natasha.
got and I'm just like, I
You
feel
are
like I could
that's
never
ridiculous.
step foot because like
That is ridiculous.
Everyone would be like,
that is pure bullshit. Because do you know what? You are you are probably looking at your life and thinking, oh my goodness, you are forgetting the things that you have achieved in your 36, 37, 38 years of life, whatever it is, whatever you feel comfortable saying. 40. I don't know. I don't know anymore, people. I don't know.
Are you 43?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So anyway, don't try and don't try.
Are you not 37 or whatever? 38?
Don't try. Listen, don't let me lose my train of thought.
-3.
-2. It's actually minus 18 months. But anyway, story for another day. So
You were born in January.
Oh my
I was
God.
born in January.
Oh my God, stop.
Okay.
So you are just looking at your life and, things that you have achieved. And you have achieved a lot. You've achieved a lot more than me. But you have. No, you have. You have. But when you literally put yourself in a lower position because you haven't got your greatest desires yet. But bear in mind that for some people, your greatest desires are not necessarily theirs. For someone else, their greatest desire is to work in, I don't know, to work for the army or to work for, and these are things that you're already within that sphere, but you do not appreciate it. Do you see what I mean? You're an amazing writer. The people who have called upon you to speak, the people who have called upon you to write, those are amazing achievements for someone your age. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
But when you look at it don't look at your life at a position of what you do not have, but look at it from what you do have.
Okay. No, fair enough.
So, and listen, and that's another thing. It's this, we're stuck in society that kind of projects the things that women of age should have.
Yeah.
So that is where you're saying, okay, if I was to step into a school reunion, all those people with families. But Kangela, the amount of people who are in relationships who are not happy, you forget that, Like we always talk about this as well. You know what? Had our circumstances been different, if we were in, I don't know, in another country where there isn't a pandemic of men shortage, like London or like UK, in the country, beg your pardon, things would be probably different for us. If we were in Zim, I don't know, we probably would be in relationships and marriages or would have kids. But the question also it's the quality versus the quantity. It's like, what sort of a relationship is it that you want? I know a lot of people who are in marriages, who are in relationships, and it doesn't stop me from wanting that for myself, because I do want to get married. But you realize as you get older that it's not easy. People are like, oh gosh, I want I want out. Men cheat.
Yeah.
Men are a pandemic even in relationships as it is, But anyway, so yeah, I think.
Yeah. No. How did we start talking about that? How did we get there?
I don't know. Gosh,
we'll talk about how did we start talking about age and all that stuff.
Oh, I think you were saying from your age, at your age, you feel that you haven't achieved much.
Yeah, no, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So I think I need, because I remember that the person was like, oh, so would you be one of those people who didn't? I was like, it's not because I don't want to meet people, but it's literally just because like I feel like I would be there and I would be like, people would be like, so what's up with you? And I'm like, yeah.
Gosh, I admire, I admire people who, I know women who are older, like in their 50s, and are like, you know what? For me right now to have a relationship, to be in the same house as a man would be very difficult, because the last few years I've been doing me. This is the life that I have. I travel with my friends.
Yeah.
I go out when I want to. So I have that much control over my life, and I like my life, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like if you own that, and she's like, oh, someone like, oh, sometimes I think about how nice it would be to have somebody. But again, something that you say a lot is how the benefits of having that separate.
Oh no, like I think I need to be with the not to stay too long on this, with the families. Like honestly, the other stuff, the male species and all that stuff. No, like it would be nice and whatever. But I think I'm more relaxed about that now.
Because I saw you talked about it recently.
What?
I think I saw something where you're like, or you're like this, like having this your own south wing, west wing, but on different seats.
Oh no, I've said that before, but but to be honest, like I think it would be nice to like meet someone or whatever, but I'm not really hung up on that bit. Like honestly, like, and like the more like you see these discussions about marriage, and particularly maybe, and this is generalizing, but maybe like from an African perspective, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do, like the whole like being a mako, like
Good desiring.
like I've really come to the point in my life where I'm like, I hate that stuff. Like I
Like,
am
wait,
domesticated to a level.
What can you explain the stuff? Like, what stuff in particular
like
do you hate?
no, like I'm saying, like I don't like.
There
I
we
don't,
go.
I don't, no, I
What
don't
goes in
like.
when you attach? Don't taste the beds away.
No, but listen, not me. I'm now at the point where I honestly like don't. Not again. Companionship is important, but I'm saying I think I'm kind of like, you know what? I don't know if maybe, like I'm just saying, I just, the thought of being that woman who's like obsessed about the type of curtains that she has and the brand of cutlery, and
Oh my
like
God,
that
really?
woman that is like, oh my God, come and see my house. And no, because when I get money, trust and believe someone is coming to my house to do that stuff. I was doing ironing over the weekend and I decided I don't like it. So when I have money,
ironing.
trust and believe someone will be coming and doing all that stuff. I am a thinker. I am not a worker. I am not a laborer. That is not me. And I feel like, like working and laboring sometimes is synonymous with like being an African wife. And honestly, I cannot play that role.
But like, and I think this is one thing I am. I like. I'm not. I don't know. But what I envision for myself as a wife is completely different to that whole, what you're describing. That laborer.
I
100%. Like I feel like if there is somebody, and I am like, thank you Jesus, because you know what, one of the things of coming to this country and having to work to sustain yourself, like we are now in a position, we get paychecks at the end of the month, and you are now able to kind of say, you know what, you spend your cash on your makeup, you can budget these things. So I feel like if I can get a cleaner to come and clean, don't get me wrong, I like cleaning, but there's certain bits that I hate doing myself. Let someone come in and do that. And I hate ironing. Please don't expect me. Like I hate ironing with a passion. I actually don't even own an ironing board. In my house. So if I have to iron, I have to do it either on my bed. I iron as I go. But yeah, it's definitely not about being a laborer. I'm definitely one for living a life of, relaxing.
Exactly. But the thing is, and what you're saying is you're supporting the economy. Imagine if other people are getting to do the work for you. And again, like I'm saying, I
not just the economy, but you're supporting somebody else.
Of course.
And helping them to support their own family. And they are contributing to the economy as well.
Exactly. So I think I am I think I was just thinking about that. I was like, oh my God. I don't know. I think in my mind, maybe I just picture myself with a small relative. Just me and my small relative. And like just us two.
Yeah. And then just literally building your life around. So then we would
I actually feel like, because I feel like I remember the other time, last year or something, I remember I even took a picture of myself, like I was traveling. And I was like, you know what? Honestly, I do love my life. Like, I do love my life. I think I just want if there's a small relative, then I think, because then one is manageable for me to like do. And I think I'm fortunate that I do have a big village. And then to just, I honestly don't want to be one of those moms who just, it just becomes about the kids. Like, I don't know.
I get you.
Like, I find it so, like, I have got friends who've turned into that person, and I'm just like, like, it's a little off-putting.
I hear you. And, like, there is definitely an element of not losing yourself in becoming a mom or a wife. And I obviously difficult for me to kind of comment because my Tamara's grown up, and I have managed to kind of really retain who I am throughout that whole process. I traveled when I did, had fun, did all these things. But I feel like also, definitely, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do things that I feel are important to me, and not having to
that's the thing. Like I feel
and not having to sacrifice. Like, oh my God. Like, and I say this to Thingy all the time. I was like, you know what? When I grew up watching people around me make these sacrifices, like picking over, do we do this or do we do this for the house? Please God, I do not want that. Please God. And I say to this guy, I'm like, you know what? I am now at a level where I buy Lancome for my face.
Yes.
I'm like, I am not going to say, okay, we're now at the shop. But babe, Lancome yako costs over £50 and we need food. God, no. Like, I don't want that. I don't want to have to kind of make I grew up seeing it and just seeing how miserable it made people, how resentful it made people. I don't want that. I'm comfortable with the life that I have now. Someone should just be coming to edify that.
Yeah, totally. Like I just want to have like that. What I enjoy now, I want to preserve it. I don't want now like Uguti, I can't travel, I can't do this. Like I believe in paying professional childminders. Like, I feel like every time I talk about having a kid with my friends, I always like, Vanessa is like, why do you always plan not to be with your child?
Like you're never around. Like, are they an accessory?
Like I'm always like, I'm gonna leave the child with Xolie.
because I'll be around, right? Because Xolie's a clown. So be at home there just watching your baby watch your gallivant. Not a chance, my friend.
I had this whole thing with Vanessa. I was like, I just like my child would be one of those people where like the aunties would be like, Kati, what's happening? Are you going home? No, mommy gave me a backpack for the weekend. And then they'll be like, you're staying the weekend?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know, I envision myself like with like being the sort of person who would be like, oh hey, are you home? Are you around this weekend? Uti, yes. And what you up to? Maybe we can plan something. Uti, I know I'm just chilling. I'm reading. Knock on the door. By the time you even open the door, there's a little person there with a bag, with a note stuck on the chest saying, hey, I am off for the weekend.
Oh my God. Yeah, no.
But
I'm not going to be a terrible mother.
But does that
God willing, if God gives me that gift.
But then people will be like, you know what, where is the compromise? Because being in these sort of roles comes the compromise. But my point is that I don't want to. I feel, guys. I personally, I've been through a lot, and I really want my latter years to be. I really want them to be something that I really have got not control over, but I am able to do the things that I want to do. So so that I have control over. Yeah. I really want that. I want that for myself. I don't want to be, sacrificing. Like I really can't explain. I can't express that enough. Uti, Sakula, us other Sakula, like it's just really difficult And seeing people around you just suffering and continuing to see that, even like I tell you. And I really don't want that for myself. I really want better for me. And I want better for my kids as well. I want my kids to just grow up and be happy. You know, I want them to have the things that they want to have, the things that they desire.
Yeah.
And in order for that to happen, I don't feel like I need to then be sacrificing what I want, what I need, what I want to be doing.
Yeah, I totally get you. And actually, like, I was thinking the other day that the more I get older, like, the more I'm becoming like my mom. And actually, I think because I was trying to think, because sometimes you think, Uti, why do I think this way? Is it because like I've, certain things haven't happened and that? Then I was like, no, to be honest with you, like my mom, like she was such a great woman. But I think what was like, I don't think she defined herself as a mom. I don't think that was her job. Like you wouldn't look at. She was actually more like sister, like everyone's sister, everyone's friend, right? Like no one called her Nana. But then again, I think maybe the difference is because my mom had me when she was young. She was like 20, 21. And then my grandparents, like I grew up with my grandparents. So it was kind of that thing where my mom then went to UZ, went to uni. My grandparents, my grandma and grandma were like my primary, like people. Like so my grandmother was the one really like literally people who know me from when I was young, like they literally be like, Natasha Lomakuma, like because I was always with my grandma. So maybe that allowed my mom that space to be herself. And I think we kind of clicked more like when I was now older, like and which is sometimes I'm like, oh, it's sad to me that like she passed when she was so young, because I feel like now, like right now, like my mom would be my best friend. Like I know it. Like I know she would love everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like we would, like she would have come and done the part.
Yeah.
Like that's, you see like how Uncle Peggy is. That's his sister. Like she was that person. So I think maybe I saw a bit of that. But then at the same time, what I like is that I feel like I'm still very much in touch with the child me. I remember very vividly the feelings that I had as a child. So I think for all my joking and everything, I know that yes, your life will have to alter and it's absolutely fine. And that you would have to sort of spend time like
molding your child
with your child in a way that maybe my mom didn't have the opportunity to really do when I was like really young, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I
do you know, it's really interesting. Like, I mean, you and I, I didn't know you till a few years ago, but I can relate to things that you say. So even like my mom was not called Naban. My mom was always called Sis B.
Oh,
everywhere
really?
she went, she was like, sis B, you know. And that's who she was. But then she was, my mom remarried when I was about 7, 8. So even as a mother, so she as a wife, that was still who I guess she identified with as
a wife.
As people were just like Sisbani. They didn't call her Nama or Nama Patla. They used to call the twins Nama Patla. They didn't call her that. They didn't call her that. It was always with Sisbi. And I think as well, like if oh gosh, it's so weird we should talk about moms today, because I was just thinking, gosh, I miss my mom. And I know if she was around, I relate to a lot of things that she said to me. And I started developing more of a closer relationship with my mom when I was a mother myself, you know, because I don't know, she was literally that person for me. And I think right now and over the past few years, I know that she'll be very proud of me, and I know that she as well would be very much into everything that I'm doing. You know, she was gosh, that woman, she's just so amazing. And as a mother now, I definitely see some of the decisions that she made, and I understand.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
there's some things that she even said to me. She was like,
Mm.
uzakubona la ungaba mama. And I'm like,
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
say that. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't say that I didn't say that at the time, but now I'm like, gosh, you know, that actually makes sense, you know? And I don't want to ever repeat these words over to my child because I'm like, gosh, I don't want you to see that. I don't want you to see how things are different when you are a mom and, you know, the roles are reversed when you're the mom. You know, I'm like, just go through life as best as you can, you know, and when you're a mom, be the best mom that you can be.
Yeah.
But I find myself like, I find myself thinking back to the things that she said, the things that she did. And I'm like, gosh, that woman, you know, she just literally, she was such a giver. She was such a, definitely somebody who put other people first, you know, and I love that about her. I love that. At the same time, though, I'm like, gosh, I really wish she had actually sometimes just put herself first. You know, I wish we had I tried and again getting into nursing made me realize, you know, I'd be working with people when I was a student, I'd be working with people and a woman would die and you'd see the children, how they would react to that, their mom dying. And I'd be like, gosh. And it made me really appreciate my mom, you know, and having her. And I tried as best as I could to celebrate her, but I wish I could have done so much more, you know. But yeah, anyway, this conversation has been interesting. We've literally talked round and round things. But
no, man.
Salute to our mothers. Salute to all the women out there who...
That should be the episode title.
What? Salute to our mothers. Yeah, that's nice, actually. Yeah. Actually, let's do that. Let's dedicate this episode to mothers.
Yeah.
Our mothers in particular.
Yes. To our mothers. No, yeah. No, it is interesting. It's funny because it's a few weeks after Mother's Day here in the UK.
Oh, remember that chat we had?
Yeah. I didn't know if you wanted to say it, but
no, let's be real and honest, right?
Okay, go on.
So how old was your mom when she passed away?
She was 46.
Oh my gosh,
she was so young. Yeah.
Bloody
she was 46.
My mom was 55.
Yeah.
And I thought, and in my head, I'm like, gosh, she was proper young.
Yeah.
So 46.
46.
Jeez.
Yeah. She was so young.
I mean, we're 46 in a few years' time.
Well, I mean, you in 3, right?
Whatever. So anyway, so we were having a chat over Mother's Day and we were like...
It was after Mother's Day.
It was after Mother's Day. It was just sighing, saying, oh, thank God that day is over, and just how difficult it was to to be happy with every other mother or every other, you know, it's hard sometimes to celebrate these days when you do not have that person. And I think we had a moment just to acknowledge the difficulty.
But remember, because I was asking you, because I was like, I thought it would be easy for you because you're a mom. Remember?
And I was just like, and I still don't have my mom. Like, I don't see how easy it can be. Because it's celebrating mothers. And yes, I suppose I should celebrate myself as a mother. But I can't get away from the fact that if my mom was around, I would still be, you know, I'd be celebrating her. Does that make sense? Like, I can't. I know I can't. I'm still a child.
No, because I remember, like, I was calling you because actually that day I felt bad that I hadn't wished you a happy Mother's Day the day, right? So I was like, let me give you a call, right? Like, begrudgingly, I was like, let me call her, right? And then I had the chat with you, and then because I was like, because even like there's certain people that I would like wish happy Mother's Day, but I did it the day after because I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna torture myself and do it on the day. Like literally, I was just like, I'm just gonna pretend like, okay, I know it's bad and everything, but I'm like, like, no, like you celebrate yourself. I'm not gonna wish you a happy Mother's Day. I was like, my mom's not here. Like, F off. Like, no. Like,
and that's it. And that is how I felt.
yeah.
So I think, at that moment in time, I actually forgot that I was a mother.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I am a child, a
Yeah.
motherless child. And I'm like, And all, do you know even that? I remember I was seeing people like, saying, oh, this is what, like mothers were actually just saying, oh, this is what I got, Jani, Jani. Or people who were then going like, oh, this is what I'm getting my mom. I'm just like, hey, when is the day ending?
I was like, yo, your mother's still alive.
Guys, if your mom is around, like, may you guys have really fruitful relationships with her.
Yeah.
Because wow.
No, like I remember like even when like my mom always used to say to me, like she always used to say to me, there's no one who like wishes the best for you more than I do.
My mother too.
So every time she would always say that to me, she'd be like, because sometimes we used to argue fiercely, even about little things. Like, even if I'm wearing something, she'd be like, and I remember actually, like, I always used to wear black, right? Because, I've always been fat. I've always been big, right? So I've always had like this thing, like, and she always be like, no, you should wear color. You should wear, and funny enough, I now wear more color, right? And I now find myself doing things that she said. And that's why sometimes I'm like, oh, I really want to lose weight. Because when I lose weight in the face, I look like my mom. And I love it. Like, I look in the mirror and I see like, even now, like, I look in the mirror sometimes because I think I look more my father's features and stuff, like my nose, signature nose and everything, right? But then there's a certain look. Like, I remember even like my cousin Lola was like, took a picture, was like, oh, you look like a mom, Taluto. And I love it. And it's so funny because even my mom, because when I was at uni, whatever, she always used to say, there was this, I forget her name, she was on Sky News, this black woman. She's now on BBC. Anyway, she's a news presenter. And my mom always used to say, Wuti, don't you want to do that? And to be honest, like now, years later, I'm joining the dots because I love broadcasting and I love all of this. But I think at the time, I'm sure maybe there were little things here and there, but she was like, you should do this. And I'm like, oh, if only I had listened to her. Because she was like, you should do journalism. Like, you should do. And funny enough, my mom actually, my mom was amazing. Like, I wish I had more time with her. Like, she loved Brenda Fassie. And she, I remember the story. So she went to interview for Radio 3 to be a Radio 3 presenter. Yeah, in Harare. At the time. But now I'm forgetting who was there, but who's was now a popular radio presenter. She was like, they were there.
Oh.
And even like when she was young, I remember, not that I remember, she was telling me that she used to love singing, right? And my mom could sing, but she wasn't a singer, right? But she's more like a star, like a performer, right? And she always say that she used to ask like her parents what she wants to sing. She says she always say she wanted to be like Tina Turner or whatever. And they were like, no, like obviously, it's school at home, right? Don't do that, right? So it's so funny because sometimes like even when we're at home, even the last few years, like from when I turned, so when I was at uni and stuff like that, because she died literally the year after I finished uni. And the day after I finished uni, and I remember like sometimes I would be home, then she would put music, then we'll start dancing and everything. So sometimes I'm like, I get that, like I'm like, yeah, I get that. That's I'm like, I know now she would be like saying to me, do this, like forget work and everything, because my mom was a social worker and she was a social worker in Haringey.
All right.
Do you remember during the time of Baby P? Yes. Like the stress that was there, like for social workers at the time. And my mom was one of those people who just like, if she could, like she wouldn't want to work. And I
Mm.
see that in me, to be honest. So it's so funny because I'm just like, oh, I'm so sad that God didn't give us time in adulthood.
Mm.
Because when I was young, I didn't really understand my mom, because my mom was young and hip and everything. I wanted her to be like, oh, my mom
That- yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, like all these
Yeah.
like all the moms I used to see
Do you know-
coming to school.
Do you know that is so beautiful? Just even hear you talking about your mom like that, because I wish I had known my mom outside the role of the wife that she was and the mother that she was. It's so like I wish I had known, like, mom, like what did you want to do? You know, the way my family was set up, like the way that like, so that's generation. I think mama was one of 11. So let's not talk about my proliferating grandfather. Not proliferating, that's not the right word. He wasn't a thief. He just loved women. So she was one of 11, and out of the 11, I think literally I don't know, 2, 3 of them got educated, and one of those, it was just men. So my mom, yeah. So my mom, like, you know, you talk about your mom going to university. My mom never had that. My mom had my brother. She literally went from, I think Bahamba, like Escolo, to a certain level, and then they stopped because only like my uncle and other siblings were took forward.
Yeah.
Fortunately for my uncle, he did really well, you know, and progressed and ended up being the person who looked after the rest of the family.
Right.
But my mom didn't have that. But I'd love to have asked her, and I never did.
Yeah.
Because at that time, you know, the time that we had together, that was very much centered on me. It was all about me, you know. What can you do for me?
Yeah.
You know, but I never got to ask her, like, what is your story? Like, what did you want to do? You know, if you hadn't had kids, like, what would you have done?
Yeah.
If you had the opportunity of going to school, what would you have like wanted to learn? What would you have wanted to be? Like, what profession would you have wanted to be?
Yeah.
And outside being a mom of, you know, now she was a mom of 5, like, you know, what did you want to do? You know, like, if you didn't have all these children running around you, what would you be doing now? Like, what did you do for fun? You know, like, I never asked her those questions, but you almost forget that these people had lives that they probably put aside to go on and to have us, you know, to have the children. She must have been somewhere, and then children happened, or whether they were planned, or whether we were planned, or whether we were not. But something, and then it was like, oh, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to be a wife. But, you know, but who was she? You know, like, and I miss not knowing, not having that knowledge. I really wish I knew. I wish I had sat down with my mom and asked her, like, what was it like growing up for you? You know, what was it like being told that, no, actually, you're not going to continue with school, but watching your older brother do that and watching him then progress and having a very successful life, and you not having that, you know, and then having to go to him for all the for help, you know, like how did that make you feel? Like, and how do you handle that? Like, I wish I had so many questions, and I realized this more as I get older. I'm like, how did these people do things? You know, how did my mom never, if there was anything that she never did, was to tell me no. Well, mama, I would go to her and ask for money, and she would be like, here, you know. But I know that she didn't have money. And even, like, can I tell you about the way the relationship that she had with people, all sis B, people would go to her and ask for things, you know. Mama would literally put herself aside and give. Mama, she's the sort of person, and that's what I see in myself sometimes. Umuntu sitting at like, when they were leaving, she'd be like, what can I give you? You know, the sort of person to you, they'll probably just be an onion, and she's wondering, what can I give to? And there's times when I'll be there and I'll be like, this woman, she's going to give away. You know, your eye, that's what was that box of biscuits called? And she's giving it away, and you're like, how? Do you know? But that's the sort of spirit that she had. And that is my greatest regret. My mom was, she was everything to me, gosh. We have gone well and over this podcast, and I think I'm going to start crying. I'm very emotional. But, and like, just to put everything into context for you, this is who my mother was. I remember once, and this is a story for another day. I remember once, this was after so obviously I had Tamara when I was young, but after I had, the whole family had discovered that I was pregnant. There was people, there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of embarrassment, I suppose. The people that I had grown up with didn't have kids. So there I was at 17 pregnant. And I remember my mom, there was one, I remember my mom coming to get me, like from a very not a bad situation, but it was a bad situation, because of just how my other family had come together and decided, you know what, Xolie has to go, she has to go to this person's house and stay there, until after she gives birth, right?
To Tam's dad's place.
To Tam's dad's place, yeah. And my mom, I don't know, I stayed there for about maybe 3 days. And my mom is the person who came to get me. I remember literally, kumbula, emalokishini, there was these houses that had isturupu, is that what it's called, isturupu? The whole, around the whole house. And one of the things that I now had to do was obviously to clean. And I remember I was cleaning that, on all fours. I was, not goroparing, I was shining it. And right there and then, there was a knock on the gate, or not a gate, the gates opened. And there came my mom. And my mom walked, and she was like, "Xolie wenzani?" And she, honestly, that is who that woman was to me. She took me out of that situation. I honestly, so you can imagine, so I'm on all fours and I'm looking up, and there is my mother. She was like an angel to me. She literally came to rescue me. And that is just, I'll never forget that. She was like, "Asambe," because you know what? Look and good. She was like, I don't have, my mom didn't have millions. My mom they didn't have a lot of money. But she was like, whatever I eat, you eat. You can't stay here. And she took me, she packed my bags, and off we went, when everybody else had been like, oh, you know what? Xolie is a write-off, and there's a lot of words that are said to you, that are said over your life when you're in that situation. And that is why I'm so passionate, I think, about when I hear that, this teenage girl is pregnant. I really feel like my heart, something tugs at my heart, because I know the conversations that I had. I know the words that I said over your life. And that's one of the reasons why I think I am who I am today, because I'm like, I need to prove all these people wrong. And these people are people in my family. These are people you actually break bread with. These are people that you commune with. But we have this culture that we don't talk about things. And, everything just gets buried, and, things just, I don't know, things get okay. You just literally build, or you grow flowers over dead things. And it's not always ideal. But that's who my mother was. My mother was that person who came to take me away, because my life would have turned out completely different if I had been somebody's wife at 17. Are your hands sweating?
I love you.
Anyway.
Thank you, Xolie.
I think that's enough for the day.
It's okay. Okay. All right, guys. Salute to our mothers. Sis B.
Yes.